Have you ever wondered about Hollywood editors and the experiences they create for their directors? Stay tuned. Welcome to season 2 of My Three Questions. My name is Andrew Mayer, and I'm all about sharing experiences. On this show, I reach out to professionals in the experience world. They might be customer, user, tenant, patient, or any other areas. They might also be suppliers, consultants, creators, consumers of experiences, maybe even editors. I round them up here just to ask them 3 simple questions, only so I can just hear their responses. On today's show, I have Sven Pape. He's a film editor based out of Los Angeles, California. He's worked on featured films and mini documentaries. If you want to really know more about the long list he's been on, go check out his IMDb listings over there. Welcome to today's show, Sven.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I have to first say, I'm a kind of a fanboy because I found you on YouTube quite a while back when I was first learning about Final Cut Pro, and you had put out some films at the beginning there talking about some of your early experiences, and so I'm kind of jived to have you here, and I hope you don't judge my final product too much. But
No, I won't. I'll never. Actually, I do, but
be, be,
thank you for having me. And do you remember how many subscribers I had back then when you first discovered me?
oh, it wasn't a lot.
Yeah, it started with basically
It
nothing.
was not. It was
And
really small, and I think I found you through YouTube when I was searching for Final Cut tips or something, and you probably popped up somewhere
yeah,
on the feed there. And I found your style, and I suggest to anybody watching this video, if you're interested in seeing somebody talking about editing films and a lot of the backstory of being a film, feature film or documentary editor, his channel's quite a lot of fun to watch. But I got a couple of warm-up questions for you real quick.
sure,
What is a
sure.
go-to person?
A go-to person is somebody that is on speed dial of their clients. So for me, it's actually a term that a client of mine coined for me. She called me I'm her go-to editor,
Hmm.
and she was working with Fremantle Media. That's a company that does American Idol and a bunch of other uh, top-rated shows here in America. And I ended up being sort of the first person that she would call whenever there's a new pilot, a new show that needs to be sold to a network where they really need to get that green light. And I would be the one that would then have the honor of cutting the material and turn it into a show. And that's really the job of an editor, is to take all that material that is unwatchable and turn it into unwatchable because it's so much
Right.
material. It just doesn't make any sense, and turn it into a story. And a go-to person is somebody where you feel like they're doing their job at a level where they're actually making your job easier. And so you're just naturally inclined to call them first because it means less work for you.
Having watched a number of your videos, and I would have always assumed that when a film is being made and the director's got all their ideas and shots and all in mind, that it pretty much comes to the editor just to clean it up. And I hadn't realized
Right.
how much real work it is that, like as you just said, the massive material you get that you have to sort through and find out the best of this and the best of, and for too many factors to cover on this interview right now, but lots and lots of reasons that the editor, it really is mixing the color of the paint basically with all the different options you have there, and what might come out could be pink, it could be blue, it could be red, but there's a whole lot of magic and a lot of tools going on in there.
Yeah, not only is it mixing the color, the editor is the brush
Ah,
that is putting the color onto the canvas. So it's the director who's the painter, but it's really um, you're sort
oh,
of have all the tools to decide how this is going to turn out, and you can't do a specific painting. I'm just going to go with this metaphor.
yeah,
If you have the wrong brush, if you have the wrong tool, it's not going to turn out the way that you envision it. So you need to have the right tool.
that's
And
cool.
the editor is kind of the invisible artist in that, just like the brush. It's kind of, you don't think about the brush when you look at the
You'll
painting.
never think of which brush was in the hand of the artist there.
Yeah.
Second quick question: is there any chance you're working or you're editing on the new Terminator film?
No, I'm not.
There's people you've worked with before who are working on that film, I believe I've seen. So
Well, James Cameron is not working on it, even though he's it's his story, it's his character. Um, as far as I know, he's not involved. Maybe he's consulting. But yeah, I used to cut a James Cameron film called Ghosts of the Abyss early in my days.
Yeah, good stuff. So into my three questions here, and as my viewers who have seen some of these interviews before, how I typically ask this is going to be a little bit of a twist because I'm talking to a film editor and an editor-director relationship, so I'll form it in that way. From an editor's perspective, and the relationship they have with their client, the producer or the director of a film here, what really makes for smooth experiences?
Really understanding that relationship with your director and that you can't expect it to be at a level if you're working with a director for the first time. So that's a relationship you have to grow, and where you sort of have to take the step back a little bit and really respond to how the director is approaching this collaboration. So for a first-time director, what I really do is I tend to be more inclusive in terms of showing the process of cutting the film. Like, I tend to be a really strong editor in terms of my point of view. I'm very open, I'm easygoing, I'm listening to every idea. I will never turn down a note from a director, but I will have a really strong point of view on a film. So if I've worked with a director on 3 films, we already have a shorthand, and I can pretty much just go for it and recut the film the way that how I see it in the moment when I'm experiencing the footage for the first time. When I have a new director, I'll still do that cut, but I have to do an additional cut where I show her or him the film the way that I think she envisioned it based on the script and the footage that came out of the script.
Is there something,
And
if you've worked with a
yeah,
director more than once, is there just a level of trust that's built up between the two?
yes, absolutely. You have to, like, the first time you're working, it's all about building goodwill. So giving the director as much uh, of just what they need to see to get to that point where they're willing to make changes that are better for the film is really important. And once you've established goodwill and once the director trusts you that you are always having the best interest of the film and the director at heart, then you can speed up this process, and you can get quicker to getting to the good stuff, getting to the film where it's working right away.
So it sounds like there's a lot of communication that has to happen between the director and the editor. Or, as you said, there might be shorthand if you've had a lot of experience, and that kind of goes with a wink and a nod
Yeah.
and short notes or whatever. What one question should maybe editors be asking more of their directors, or maybe the other way around? How would you like to approach that?
Well, it's an interesting question, because in the context of making a film, there's really 2 parts of making this film in the editing room. There's the phase where the editor is the storyteller and the director is the listener. That's the initial phase, and then it switches. And once I've told the story back to the director, then I have to listen and see how does my version of the film really satisfy the vision of the film, the unified vision of the film that's always with the director. So at the beginning, I would maybe invite the director to be open-minded. Like, will you be open to see alternatives
Okay.
before you decide what the film is? That would be my answer.
That's like showing the director alternative brushes.
Well, that would be showing them alternative editors. So I would be showing them
Okay. So,
different renditions of the painting.
the different renditions of the painting. All right. I
Yeah,
think I'm going to have to find some thumbnail for this video. It's going to have a painter or something on here.
yeah.
Okay.
You never want to show different brushes.
Don't want to show. No, don't change the brushes too often here. So
Yeah,
my third question's a fun one. Just to say, if you had more time in the day, what would you do with
yeah.
it?
Well, right now, what's really good about it is that I've optimized my time to do things that matter. So my whole process in the last few years was really to make sure that every day that I spend editing, I spend on stuff that matters. So it either matters to me personally, or it matters to the better cause of the film, or the sort of long-term goal of how I see myself as a business. It does mean that sometimes I can't do the things that I have fun
Mm.
doing. Like, for
Mm.
example, I really still enjoy doing YouTube as a channel, and I can't create as much content on the channel as I used to.
Right.
So, if I had more time, I would love to devote more time to the channel.
Okay. Well, maybe if I could somehow get you 2 extra hours a day, I would enjoy seeing more videos of you, even though the things you put out there are still always very informative, even though a lot of them are not in my field here. You've made it through my 3 questions here, Sven. I really appreciate you in the morning in California. For me, it's early evening in Germany, coming on to my show. And being here. Anybody who's interested, this guy edits is where you can find Sven.com, of course, on YouTube. Scroll back through some of the history of videos. Some of them are quite funny. Some are very interesting if you're interested in that kind of what it takes to cut and make and be everything it is to make that painting there. Thank you, Sven, for being here.
Ah, it's been a pleasure. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye bye.